This week, we opened an investigative case file that forced us to shatter one of the most widespread legal misconceptions in domestic abuse law, exposing how toxic relationships can evolve from physical blows into calculated psychological warfare. It began with a late-night complaint at our station, and it evolved into a landmark jurisdictional masterclass that every citizen, law enforcement officer, and student of law needs to understand. Millions of you across the globe have flooded our feeds over the last few days, fiercely debating the boundaries of same-sex domestic violence protections and the horrifying weaponization of animal cruelty. We examined a case where a woman's live-in lesbian partner tortured and killed their shared domestic pet to break her spirit mentally. Today, we bring the entire narrative together into one seamless feature. We will break down the initial cycle of forgiveness, the escalation to psychological terror, the station desk debate over WCPD jurisdiction, and the exact statutory provisions of Republic Act 9262 that lock down this prosecution. Watch this file until the very end to understand why forgiving an unrepentant abuser is never kindness. It is an invitation for the abuse to evolve. This is the complete feature. Late one evening, the stillness of our station duty was broken by a walk-in complaint. A young woman entered our desk in a state of severe shock and deep emotional trauma. She had been physically assaulted, punched and beaten by her live-in partner, a lesbian with whom she shared an intimate relationship. In many domestic violence sagas, the hardest phase to witness as an investigator is the cycle of forgiveness. Despite the severity of the initial physical assault, the victim chose not to press charges. She forgave her partner, believing the promises of change, and walked back into the very home where the threat remained alive. But toxic behavior rarely cures itself through silence. It merely evolves. Months later, the same victim returned to our Women and Children Protection Desk, WCPD. This time, her face bore no fresh physical bruises, but her spirit was completely broken. She reported that during their arguments, her partner had stopped using direct physical blows against her body. Instead, she turned her aggression toward their shared domestic pet, subjecting their dog to horrific torture and ultimately killing it in cold blood right in front of her eyes. It was a weaponized act of psychological terror designed to send a clear message. Look at what I can destroy, and remember that you are next. At Ching's perspective, our guiding principle is absolute professional confidentiality, victim protection, and legal ethics. When documenting active domestic abuse files and sensitive psychological trauma cases, we operate under rigid boundaries. We do not leak raw, unverified operational footage, and we completely reject exposing the real identities of victims or individuals involved. To deliver this crucial legal lesson to our global audience without compromising victim safety or violating privacy laws, we leverage advanced AI prompting. We explicitly reject cartoon styles or dramatic, sensationalized animations. Instead, we program the AI engine to reconstruct hyper-realistic, human-like visual stills, focusing on the quiet atmosphere of an empty interview room, the texture of official legal dockets, and the grave environment of an investigation. This technology allows us to educate millions on their statutory rights while keeping real-world identities completely protected. When the victim stepped forward to file charges, an intense legal debate erupted among the station officers, a fundamental question that frequently appears in promotional examinations across law enforcement. Does the Women and Children Protection Desk, WCPD, have jurisdiction over a crime committed by a female perpetrator against another female in a same-sex relationship? Or should this be handled by the General Investigation Section as simple physical injuries and animal cruelty under the revised Penal Code? Many assume that Republic Act 9262, the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act, only applies when a male perpetrator abuses a female victim. That is a massive legal misconception. The statutory protection of RA 9262 focuses entirely on the gender of the victim, not the sexual orientation or gender identity of the perpetrator. Because the two women shared an intimate, live-in sexual and dating relationship, the law protected her fully, even if her abuser was a woman. Furthermore, RA 9262 does not merely punish physical beatings. It explicitly penalizes psychological violence, acts that cause mental or emotional suffering, anxiety, or deep trauma. Killing and torturing a beloved pet to terrorize, intimidate, and exert psychological control over a partner is a textbook form of psychological abuse under the law. The WCPD held full jurisdiction. The case was formally built, locked down, and forwarded straight for prosecution. This case forces us to look past superficial labels and examine the true anatomy of human abuse. Violence does not care about gender, and abuser tactics are not limited to physical punches. Why do so many victims endure the escalation from a physical blow to the destruction of what they love? It is because abusers rely on psychological control. When a partner threatens, tortures, or kills a pet, they are executing a calculated tactic of terror. They are telling you that your safety, your sanity, and your emotional peace are under their total control. To every woman watching this file, know your statutory rights. Do not assume you are unprotected simply because your abuser is of the same gender, or because the abuse took the form of psychological warfare rather than a physical bruise. Republic Act 9262 is a comprehensive shield, punishing physical, psychological, sexual, and economic abuse. My perspective today is a fundamental lesson in stoic self-respect. Forgiving an unrepentant abuser is not kindness. It is an invitation for the abuse to evolve. The moment someone uses physical violence or targets what you love to instill fear in your heart, the relationship is dead. Do not wait for the tragedy to escalate further. Step into the light, utilize the full protection of the law, and demand justice. What is your perspective? Should domestic violence restraining orders around the world automatically mandate the immediate confiscation and protective custody of household pets in abusive homes? Let me know in the comments below. Keep your mind sharp, your rights protected, and your perspective grounded. I'm Ching, and I'll see you in the next case file.
If you made this far, comment the word "more" so I know who the real ones are.